Okay, we're continuing on with quotes from the Holy Grail of Wisdom Quotes book by me, Pete Rogers. First quote is, "Genius defies all anticipation." Yeah, so a real genius, they can surprise you, you know. Whereas most of the time, you read a book, you hear a lecture, it's going to be the same old predictable stuff. Mason Cooley, "A genius knows where the questions are hidden." I think that's a big part of being a great scientist is they pick a question that's answerable. You see a lot of mediocre scientists, they spend their whole life, chasing micro questions and then also chasing something that's impossible to ever, define. The most eminent scientists and artists, get my background here in my School of Athens in order here. The most eminent scientists and artists are people who see questions where most people see only the prevailing answers. In short, being creative is first a matter of discovering a question. Yeah, you gotta point your energy towards something useful. So you're not just, mental masturbation, wasting your time. Okay, David Trott from Predatory Thinking. "It gradually dawned on me what they, the creative geniuses, all had in common was inquiring minds. That's what makes people creative. People who say, why does it have to be that way? That's true creativity. They had it coming off them in sparks." Okay. Yeah, I had taken classes like at Stanford that were kind of pretty routine and boring. You just try to get a grade, you memorize a lot of stuff. And then I took an advanced synthesis lab. And these are kids that were thinking of really going into becoming synthetic organic chemists or, biology researcher. And it was a lot of fun because we would talk to each other. And it was a different type of conversation. I had one real close friend that was like that too. We wanted to go bird watching. We were reading all these books on the side about, biology, evolutionary biology, Stephen Jay Gould. At the time, I thought he was pretty clever. Now I think he's kind of a weasel jerk, lefty scumbag. But at the time, he's kind of interesting. And he was trying to reason around the Cambrian expansion, and he wasn't able to do it. Okay, William James. "Genius means little more than the faculty of perceiving in an unhabitual way. Genius is the capacity for seeing relationships where lesser men see none." Okay. That's why it's good to read from a wide variety of perspectives because, a lot of the stuff you read is going to be nonsense, but you'll come across some good ideas that are helpful to you. Arthur Koestler. "The principal mark of a genius is originality, the opening up of new frontiers." Yeah, because whenever you say something that doesn't fit the party line, lots of people get pissed off at you. You get, like on the internet, you get all these trolls coming out at you. I get all these trolls because I tell the truth about soy, about MSG, about omega-3s, about flax, all this other BS. I get tons of trolls telling me, "Oh, I'm a jerk," or "I'm not scientific." Yeah, right. I'm not a sellout scumbag, okay? I'll tell you the truth. I don't make any money from this, so I'm lucky. I don't have to sell out. It's not like my business depends on this. I'm just having fun with this internet stuff because I think it's so important and useful, but there's no money in it. Okay, anyways, Arthur Koestler's next quote. "The real achievement in discoveries is the seeing an analogy where no one saw it before." Yeah, you have to come up with a way to frame the question, the topic, so it can be solved. That's the hardest part. Arthur Schopenhauer. "Scholars are those who have read in the books, but thinkers, men of genius, world enlighteners, and reformers of mankind are those who have read directly in the book of the world." Yeah, what you're going to see is a lot of the good students, the Ivy League types, they've memorized it, they got their test grades, but they never say anything original. They're just same old boring crap. The other thing I've seen is when you get somebody who's really good, like there was this imaging-guided surgeon over at Harvard when I was over there, Stuart Geller. Man, was he good. Is he smart and inquisitive, coming up with new ways. He was always in trouble. They're always pissed off at them. So a lot of the great ones you're going to see, that's characteristic of somebody who's great, is that the establishment is always pissed off at them. Because the establishment is making money off the established order. They don't want changes. They don't want innovation. There's a big deceptive thing that people think, oh, the internet celebrates, creative innovation and ideas. It is not true. In science, being creative and innovative gets people pissed off because you change the paradigm and the power players are making money off the paradigm and they don't like it. Okay, we got a couple more here. "True genius is more than lofty intelligence and imagination. Love, 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 that is the soul of genius." Mozart. And again, that goes with the whole idea of in order for a man to become great at something, to learn a difficult topic, he must love it. Sort of a Goethe quote, and others have said that. Here's another Goethe quote. "The first and last thing required of genius is the love of truth." Yeah. because you have to stick to the truth, because the truth often doesn't have any money. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with the truth. At the end of the rainbow with the truth, there's often being ostracized, exiled, hated, beaten up, maybe killed. Everybody hates the pros. The power players that really have money, they hate the pros, okay? So they don't want somebody coming along helping the pros. Believe me, there's no money in helping the pros. Okay, just got a couple more for today. Okay, so the couple more quotes for Genius Part 6 right here. Let me move this over. All right, John Malloy. John Malloy wrote a couple of good books. He's the guy who wrote that book, How to Dress for Success, which was a great book. Every young guy should read that book. Because, you want to learn how to dress well, because people judge by how you're dressed. And if you don't know how to dress well, they think you're just a thug. Okay, highly creative people are logical, pragmatic, nonconformist. He also wrote another book, How to Work the Competition into the Ground and Have Fun Doing It. He sort of had like an engineering perspective on achievement and dress, and he's interesting. His books are good. Rene Descartes, truths are more likely to be discovered by one man than by a multitude. That's also true. You've heard that, ever since sort of the beginning of the modern scientific era. Guys like Nikola Tesla, he'll tell you that. Okay. There's one from Galileo Galilei. In the sciences, the authorities of thousands of opinion are not worth as much as one tiny spark of reason in an individual man. If reasoning were like rocks, like pulling rocks, then several reasoners might be better than one. But reasoning is like a horse race, where one stallion easily outruns 100 plow horses. That's why another reason why Dr. McDougall was so great. Dr. McDougall, when he would study and read something, I double-checked him tons of times. It'd be the truth, okay? So I would trust his opinion over 50 people telling me the opposite of what he said. Okay, Arthur Schopenhauer. Intellect is a magnitude of intensity, the depth of learning, not of extensity, the breadth of learning. And that is why, in this respect, one man can confidently know more than 1,000. 1,000 fools does not make one wise man. Yeah, that's also why I got so much confidence. I've been to these Ivy League places, I've been to Stanford, and I know that there's some great ones, but there's tons and tons, like you see everywhere, professional career sellouts that just know that if you stick with the micro questions and you stay in the paradigm, you'll be okay. You'll get by. You'll never do anything great, but you'll be okay. And if somebody comes along and wants to change the paradigm, intruder, I hate the guy. All right, well anyways, that's Genius Quotes for today. Hope you found that helpful.